is.
Oh, I held my breath and I feel like I'm gonna faint.
No, don't get lightheaded. We don't want that.
Okay.
My name is Tim Errickson, everybody. I am the artistic director of the Boomerang Theater Company, and I am here today with the lovely, the one and only Kevin R. Free. Hello, my friend.
Hello there. How are you?
I know we have these little fake little introductions, like we haven't been talking for 10 minutes, but Kevin did not allow me.
I thought that I was quite natural with my hello, how are you?
Yes,
but
no,
I
it was
guess not.
yours was very good. Mine is still a little stiff, so I'm working on it. Kevin would not allow me to write down anything that I would say to introduce him, but to just introduce him naturally. And so I will say that Kevin is a multi-hyphenate theater and entertainment performer and creator. See what happens when I don't write things down? It's a mess.
It's so good. Listen, I just want you to be you. I'm gonna flip this interview around and interview you instead of being interviewed.
This is gonna go great. So Kevin is a playwright. He is a director. He is an actor. He is a storyteller. He is, what other things are you?
An audiobook narrator.
Yeah.
A cat parent.
Producer of some amazing theater as well.
A producer.
I mean, that's a lot of stuff you do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I like to just say that I'm an artist. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm talking to somebody on the street who thinks when they hear artist, they think visual artist, I will call myself a performing artist. But I just like to think of myself as an artist and a theater maker, because that is I feel like that's my first language.
And you've moved into different types of media besides audiobooks as well, right? Like lately.
Yeah. I mean, since we shut down everything, I have been doing Zoom web series, one of them for sure.
Yeah.
And then I've been directing via Zoom a lot lately. But back in 2014, 2015, I made my first web series, Gemma and the Bear, with Evan Hartsoe. And then we made another web series called Becky's Through History, which we've just released, but we have to be very intentional about that release because it is kind of educational, and it was intended for a white audience, specifically white women. So that has been released, but it hasn't been released because we have to really think about that. Anyways, so I feel like in this time when we're not supposed to be in a rehearsal room or in rooms with other people, I have felt as though making a web series or making a Zoom series, which is a particular kind of web series.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned a lot about acting and directing in this medium, and it's a virtual theater space, and a lot of people will say that it's not theater and it's not, but I will also say, if this is all there is, I have to embrace it. If this is all there is right now, then I have to embrace it as if it's all it will ever be.
Yeah, we're recording today on Thursday, July 9th. And there was an article in the Times like a couple days ago about how Zoom theater is not theater. And part of it was trying to say that we're trying to make something in these little boxes because we're all in mourning for the thing we don't actually have, which is fine, and I agree with that on some level. But at the same time, it's all the other axiom in this article, and I'm paraphrasing it probably badly, was just because we're making things in these little boxes doesn't make it theater. And I was like, well, okay, but you're cutting off your nose to spite your face a little bit.
Well, doesn't that also feel, Tim, like when people say that, doesn't that also feel like their desire to want to make theater, to see theater, to be an audience of theater? Isn't that, I mean, I'm trying so hard to be compassionate because I know how I feel right now, or have felt for the past 3 months, and I miss hugging my friends. Yeah. I miss seeing them in a show and telling them how great they were afterwards. I miss hugging them in the green room and talking about the play, or I miss being in a play or directing a play and being able to encourage actors to live their best life on stage. I miss that. And so I think when people have their hot takes about what we're going through right now is not real, whatever.
Yeah.
My response to that is that it's very possibly the realest thing we have.
Yeah.
And that it is, and that they are, what they're writing about and what they're saying is a reaction to their own feelings of missing what they're calling the real thing.
Yeah.
And also, when this is all over, whatever that means, when this is all over and we are allowed to see one another in person and hug each other and have a rehearsal and have fight choreography where people touch each, you know what I mean? Like when intimacy choreography, all of this stuff, when we're allowed to do those things, what are the things that we're doing now that will remain in the room? And who are the people who will never come back to work? Who are the people who will never be able to do that job again?
Do you have ideas specifically about like a particular task or job?
I've had a couple of commercial auditions where I was my own cameraman.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah, and they said, if we cast you, this video that you've taken will be in the film, will be in the commercial. It's
that's weird.
So my question is, when it's all over, will it actually be over? My fear when we went into phase 1 and I guess now phase 2, my fear is, okay, but what's too much? It means I'm still not hugging you. I still can't hug you. And that is more depressing for me to spend the socially distant time with people. It feels like I'm scratching on my cage. Let me out. So that's so that is why I say, if this is all there is, if Zoom theater is all that's left, then I have to throw myself into it as if that's all that's left. I can't, I did not get sick the way you did. I have not been sick, but I have thought about, since you told me the story of being ill with the coronavirus, I've thought about how just because we're shut down, just because we're not allowed to do certain things, it doesn't mean that I stop living. It doesn't mean that I stop being an artist. And what if I'm in my apartment and I drop dead while I'm waiting for theater to come back?
Yeah.
That can't be my life. That can't be. So I have to lean into it. And I've had my anxieties during this time. But I find that the anxieties that I had before this about legacy and career, I don't have anymore. I don't have the same, I don't have that anxiety anymore. I now have the anxiety of that I've always had of, I have to get everything done. I've said that I'm going to do this thing I need to get done.
Yeah.
Right? Before this call today, before we started recording, I was like, I have to microwave my lunch and eat it before the camera starts to roll. Right? So I'm creating all of this. I'm definitely an artist because I'm creating drama everywhere I go. Everything I do.
Right, of course. I'm going to segue here for a second, because one of the things that when I read that New York Times article about how this is in theater, one of the things that I thought was, I've seen not a ton of things, but I've seen so many good things come along on Zoom theater. And one of which was the reading that you directed for Portland Stage a month ago, as well as
that was already a month ago.
I mean, I'm rounding it up, but probably close, beginning of June, maybe, or middle June.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah.
Plus some of the stuff that Labyrinth did, plus the Apple plays that the public did. I mean, there's some things that have come along that have really been super inventive and creative and taken advantage of the opportunity rather than decry its limitations. So how are you staying creative through all this? I mean, is there something you're doing to sort of stay fresh and sort of stay connected to your process?
Is there something that gosh, I don't know if I'm doing something. I don't know if it, I'm really one of the lucky ones. When we shut down, my theater work was all canceled, and I reached out to audiobook publishers and said, "Hey, would you happen to have any work for me?" And they all wrote back and said yes. And then one of them, an engineer from a publisher, spent 45 minutes on the phone with me telling me what to buy.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
What to buy for my studio, which is a pantry closet. And the studio has paid for itself at this point. And so I can't say, I mean, yes, I wrote to them to ask for work. So I guess you could say that my hustle, that has been the same hustle for the past 25 years in New York City, is a good hustle. It's good.
Yeah.
But the directing jobs, and I've had 3, all came to me. People reached out to me and said, we have this job for you, and also we will pay you to do this job. Would you like to do it?
And all of those were of the same sort of orientation, like they're Zoom readings, they're multiple actors of new plays, or?
Yes. All Zoom readings. One had a couple of actors in Los Angeles and a couple of actors in New York and one actor in Canada.
Wow.
One was the one that you saw, and we had one actor out in Arkansas. And then the last thing I did was for Rytopia Lab, which is an organization that works with children and teaches them playwriting. They did a Black Lives Matter festival, and it was called Black Lives Matter. They have always mattered, and they will always matter. And they asked students, they commissioned, so they paid Black kids from age 7 to 23 to write plays, very short plays. And that was a company of 9 actors. I had actors in Brooklyn. I had actors in Manhattan. I had an actor in London, and I had an actor in Hamburg, Germany. And it's amazing, right? Well, yeah, I mean, this is one of the greatest things about doing this. It is the bright side of doing. If you are me and you like to create opportunities for people that you love, when they move out of town, it is hard to give them an opportunity in New York. And this company had actors across the globe, and it was really great. Rytopia was really, really wonderful. So that was really great. And then around the time that the protests around Black Lives Matter started, Ziv and I were talking, because we tend to talk a lot. We were in the middle of the Queerly Festival, which is a festival that I've curated for the past 6 years. And seriously, Erez and Emily and Jimmy do most of the work. I'm kind of just the pretty face that says, hey, do you want to be in Queerly? And this year was the first year that I've ever been in town to actually participate in Queerly. So Erez, we were in the middle of Queerly, and Erez said there must be a way to hire Black and indigenous people of color to do a show and pay them, and then hire white artists to support them in that show and not pay the white artists. There has to be a way to make that happen. And I said, oh, you're talking about a reparations show. And he said, yeah. And I said, no, that's what it's called. We're calling it the reparations show. And so this has been occupying my time for the past 4 weeks, is figuring out how to do this virtual variety show. Mm-hmm. It is every week a different person hosts the show and is supported by both black and brown artists, and also we're asking white artists to donate a performance to the show. So in a sense, they're donating this performance as reparations, to pay reparations. And if you're a white artist and you have a recording of yourself or a story that you can tell, and if that story is somehow a story that sort of makes you complicit with white supremacy, or has made you complicit with white supremacy, or is a story about a time that you realized that you were complicit with white supremacy, even better. And our first show was hosted by Azure D. Osborne Lee, and David Lawson, that amazing storyteller of the independent theater, mm-hmm. I asked him to tell this story, and he said, yes, absolutely. And he came on and told this story about how he acted in a musical about Jefferson Davis. And I had heard this story before, and I just thought that I thought it was wonderful anyway. And one of the things that I keep thinking about, please tell me to stop talking, because I could talk about myself for...
We're actually on an interview show, so you could pretty much talk all you want.
Hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So David told a story. When he told that story, it was basically about how, yes, he did it for the money, but the money that he got was some tiny sum. And I keep thinking about how in the indie theater, we don't have a lot of money to give to anyone, right? But what we give them is an opportunity to explore the stage, to figure out the craft. And what I think the hope is, for me, what the hope is, by giving opportunities to people in the independent theater, or the independent virtual theater space, or the independent web series and the new media.
Yes, of course, new media.
Is giving them an opportunity and giving them some money for that opportunity, and not requiring them to do most of the heavy lifting, unless it is emotional actor heavy lifting, you know?
Right.
And not asking them to do more than their job. And that after they've had a couple of those opportunities, that they can either decide to continue to make independent theater, or hopefully someone sees them, or they figure out what their hustle is and they can get out of it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it doesn't pay the bills in the way that commercial theater pays the bills.
Is that a new sort of tact for you? Has it always been to provide opportunity and then send people on their way, in a way?
That has not, no. I've never said that out loud that way.
Sure, and if I mischaracterize it, please correct me.
No, you that's what you said. You said what I said, and that's what I said.
Okay.
I said what I said, in the words of Nene Leakes. I said what I said. I have not always thought of it that way, but that is what happened with my career.
Sure, yeah.
As an actor. And I started out in indie theater, and then went away and came back, went away and came back. And so I always returned to indie theater. But the thing that I keep thinking about right now, with all of this happening, is access.
Okay.
We don't all have access to indie theater. We don't all have access to theater makers who can help us make a living.
Mm-hmm.
And I have always been a theater maker or an artist who believes in connecting other artists to opportunities. I've always been that kind of artist. And I'm just thinking about this today. If if I know, Tim, that you want something and that I can provide that something for you, and it doesn't take anything from me to provide it for you, why would I not provide it?
I've been
Why
asking
would
myself that question about you for years.
I?
Why?
I mean, I'm not talking about my slow responses to emails. I'm not talking about that.
No, no.
But I am talking about. I mean, and this is different from labor, right? This is different from
Mm-hmm.
labor. This is about if I'm dying to direct this one play, and you have the power to give me that job and to give me a living wage to direct that one play.
Mm-hmm.
And you know I'd be great at doing it. And you know it. Why wouldn't you give it to me? And two, if you can't give it to me, why wouldn't you just say, no, I can't give that to you? This is a thing I can't do.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking about it, and I haven't really put my finger on what exactly I'm trying to say about it, other than the fact of it's access. It's about access. And we as artists, speaking as a person who started as an actor and was only an actor, and then started redefining what actor meant, but we are constantly asking for people to give us a break, give us a job, give me 3 lines in this play, give me, actors we're always doing that. And it is if you don't look at rejection like part of the job, and if you don't look at it like I have skills that I'm selling to you rather than I'm selling myself, and
Mm-hmm.
you're not buying myself, so now I feel terrible about myself. If you don't think about it like as I have these skills, and millions of other people have them too, and they decided to go with somebody with a lower bid, then you're lost. If you don't look at it that way, then you're lost. You're very upset. You're very sad. But actors, we ask for things constantly, and we don't get responses. Either we get an absolute no, or we just don't get a response. We just don't get an answer. And when my theater work was canceled, and I reached out to every audiobook publisher I'd ever worked with, and every audiobook publisher wrote back and said yes, it changed my life. It changed my worldview in an instant because they responded.
And it's the simplest thing in the whole world, right? Like it took no time, I'm sure, for those people to be considerate to you.
Yes. And so when I thought about the number of times that I have either forgotten to respond or didn't respond with a yes or a no about something, and then responded a week late and said, I'm so sorry, I forgot. I saw this, I read it on my phone, and when I read it on my phone, it doesn't count.
Yeah. Of course. It's so tiny.
It's so small. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. I'm so sorry. But I think about that, and I think about at least I finally got back and said, hey, right? But
Yeah.
there are people who never respond. And that, I mean, we call it the nature of the biz. That's what happens at an audition. That's what happens,
Yeah.
But I just sort of want the world to be that way. And that I want the world to be a world in which we all have access to opportunities. And I think that this one is, I mean, yes, I believe that because I am Black, I have missed several opportunities. Yes, I believe that in my heart of hearts. And I have been told several times that there are things that I absolutely can't do, which is why I wrote my first play about a Black country singer, because I was told that that was a thing that I was not allowed to do. I cannot sing country songs. You're Black, you don't do that, right?
Right.
So I believe, while I believe that that is true, I also believe that there are, in, I have a certain amount of privilege. I am working, and a lot of my people are not. A lot of my friends, people, I mean, my contemporaries and my peers are not working. So I recognize that I have a lot of privilege, but I also didn't realize that I could send an email and get a response from an audiobook publisher, from people who literally can say yes or no, and I would work or not work. And these folks said, yes, you can work. And we can give you that work to help you work. So yes, absolutely. And I started to get really angry about that at the beginning of this shutdown, because I started watching all of the benefits,
Mm-hmm.
and every benefit had the same people.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me. The lineup of do-gooders, and I don't mean that pejoratively, but like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same people who will give their time.
And they're this, but they're also the same people who were asked.
Yeah.
Right? So nobody, you know, this Harper's letter that came out yesterday. I mean, I'm going to talk about this on the reparation show tomorrow, but I feel like
Sneak peek.
I feel like J.K. Rowling has been in a lot of trouble lately, because J.K. Rowling is a TERF. And she does not believe that trans women are women. And so, and she's been saying it out loud. And people have been yelling at her and shouting her down about this. And she signed this letter that is about canceling cancel culture. And all I can think is, girl, how are you canceled? No matter what I say to you, you have the money. You've got my money. I bought every Harry Potter book.
Yeah.
No matter what anybody says to you. I mean, and this is the reason why I think Twitter is so great, because yes, it's a hell site, but on Twitter, you have access to the person that you want to talk to.
Yeah.
You just talk to them and you say whatever you mean. Now, I'm not talking about bullying and trolling. I'm talking about being able to say, hey, you said this thing, and you won't discuss it because you think that you're right. And now she signs a letter saying, we can't get into this world of cancel culture. It's not right. It's not right. And I keep thinking, y'all, y'all ain't gonna be canceled, because people are still gonna hire you. People are still hiring you. When I audition for a job and I don't get it, I'm canceled. I don't get that job. I'm not gonna get it. Period. It's so ridiculous when I think about it, because they have the access, and what they're saying is, we believe in open debate, but you can't tell me that I'm canceled because I believe a different thing from you. Well, the truth is, I can tell you anything, but you have the power in this relationship. So you're not going to be canceled, even if I cancel you. If you call the police on me, I mean, Amy Cooper, for Pete's sake, Amy Cooper called the police and said, I'm going to tell them this black man is threatening my life. And she did, and then she was fired from her job, and they took her dog away from her. And guess what else? She got her dog back. She got the dog back. And so I just think, yeah, she doesn't have a job right now, but I bet she'll be able to get one.
Yeah. That's a whole crazy story we could go off on forever, because all the reporting lately has been that the man she accused on the phone has not been cooperative because he feels like she suffered enough, but yet he might be the only one of the few people who feels that way. Like, there's a lot of people who are like, yo, man, she did this like fullest extent of the law kind of business, and it's so complicated.
can she not pay a fine? Can you not press charges on her and then say, I mean, is she
Yeah.
going to prison? It just, yeah. I mean, he is more zen and more evolved and more
Yeah, than I would be.
vibrating on a higher plane
Yeah.
than I, because I would say yes. I want there to be a trial. I want there to be somebody drawing pictures of us in the courtroom, and I want it to be reported on the news every single day. I want pictures of her being upset and feeling bad and crying every single day. I want that in the same way that the black mothers of dead boys are pictured, are drawn in the courtrooms. I want that same thing to happen to her. I want her to recognize, I want her to hear every single day about what she did, about how she did it. And I get that she feels bad, and I get she doesn't have a job. I get all of those things. And yes, I don't want her to lose everything, I guess. But what I really want is for her to get in trouble, like actual trouble with the law. Now, the criminal justice system is a whole other thing.
Right. That's a whole other podcast.
I'm not an expert in any of these.
No, me neither.
I can only tell you what I desire. And so if we're going to prosecute her because the criminal justice, if we're not going to prosecute her because the criminal justice system is already messed up, then what are we going to do?
You know what people would really sign up for?
What?
The Tim and Kev talk the criminal justice system. That's like a 9-part podcast. You just subscribe for it. Shows up in your phone every week.
Oh, geez. I feel like it's funny. Whenever I listen to a podcast with people who are much younger than I am,
yeah,
and they talk about things that I know about, they don't know about, I am so angry. I get so mad at them. And this would be my opportunity for people to be mad at me because I don't know.
All right, I'm going to segue out of this. You ready?
Yeah, get on the segue.
No. Are you writing now at all?
Yes, and also no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I in the reparations show every week, I do a segment called This Week in Reparations, so I write a few things for that. I have this solo play that I've been developing for Andre DeShields that I am making into a film that can be shot with a green screen and just him.
That's amazing.
So I'm rewriting that, but I'm not making a lot of progress. But I am writing that.
Okay. Look, a lot of progress is very subjective. If you're thinking about it at this point, that's progress.
Exactly. I've been commissioned by Miles Square Theater to write a play for they're doing a Zoom series of new plays, and I am writing something for that. Leah Romeo is also writing for it, and Nandita Shenoy is writing for it.
She is a tremendous writer, so she's hopefully we're going to get her one of these coming up soon. I love her work.
Leah?
Yeah,
she's really awesome. And she's another person like me who believes in connecting people to opportunities. I've received so many emails from her about opportunities, and she's really lovely. So I mean, those are the things that I'm writing. Before we shut down, I was writing a solo musical with some friends that is based on the story that I tell for the Moth about me and my mom. And things shut down, and I was like, I don't have space for this right now.
Yeah.
I can't. And so, but that's not.
That's a lot. That's plenty.
Is it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So when you're writing, do you go into the recording studio to do your writing to get away from like cats and traffic noise and stuff, or do you have a desk or a spot you like to work in?
No. the dining room table, which is over here to my left, I
Yeah.
like to sit there and do a lot of work. My partner has gone back to work, and so in the afternoon, evening, I'm home, and I've been setting up the card table that he used to set up in front of the TV to produce his television show. So I've been setting that up so that one of our cats can have a little place to sleep. So cute.
Hello, cutie.
And also because I like the sun.
Hmm.
I like being near it. I like, sitting here, and I feel like it feels more like an office
Yeah.
to be here. And in the back of the apartment, there is an actual office, but it feels um, it feels too closed off. I realize I need the sun.
Yeah.
I'm a flower.
We've always said that about you. It's so true.
I need a list of who that we is.
Oh, Sarah and I.
Oh, okay. All right.
And the Kevin R. Free fan club. All
Oh.
the what are your fans called? Do you have a?
They are called the Freaks.
I was going to say the Freaks, and I thought that's wrong.
But there's no A in it. There's no A.
Is it the Free Hive?
The Free Hive, because I'm fiance.
Yeah.
We could call them the Free Hive, but it feels like stealing.
It does, but I mean,
Freaks. But again, she has the power. It's not going to cancel her.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I was thinking. I kind of like the Freaks as long as the Freaks is spelled without an A.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, I'm down with that.
Is that all right?
That works. Yeah, that works great. I'm glad we solved that.
Me too. So I need somebody to actually make that Facebook page so that all the freaks can like it.
Done.
That's the thing I'll let you write down.
Done. We just looked. We have 5,000 followers already, so we're fine.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like that. People.
Wow, lightning.
Once the word's out on the street, yeah.
We're called the Freaks now, guys. Good.
Yeah. Last question for you.
Okay.
When you're writing, when you're directing stuff in this milieu, or even like, person to person.
Yeah.
And you get stuck. Is there a piece of advice or something that you fall back on or think about or remind yourself of that sort of maybe push through or helps you sort of get unstuck?
Yes.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. It's been terrific.
Here's the thing that I believe. Here's the thing that I say to people and I say to myself. If you believe, Tim Errickson, that you were created in the image of a creator, then you must create. So when I think about how long it took me to get to be who I am in the world, who I am in my apartment, who I am in my career, it has taken me 51 years at this point, right? Mm-hmm. So going back to the thing that I said about if I were created by a person, if I were created by a creator in that creator's image, then I must create. Then it takes as long as it takes to be finished with the things that I create. So if I'm having a rough patch of writing, I mean, I just listed things that I was doing, but I'm actually not doing a lot of work on them all the time.
Sure.
It is just a way to remind me to give myself a break, and that I will finish making the thing that I'm making when I'm finished making the thing that I'm making. Um, and it's okay because it has to be okay. Uh, yeah.
I really
And
like that
oh, good. I'm glad.
because I
I'm
think
glad.
I think there are times when no, seriously, because I think there are times when either I'll finish a first draft or I have someone who finishes a first draft and they're like, it's screwed up in the middle and like this character doesn't work and like I'm sick of looking at it and then but to apply the sentiment that you just sort of talked about, which I think is super helpful, is to sort of let it have the time that it takes to get those things worked out. It doesn't have to be finished next week, like it doesn't have to
Right.
be perfect. It just, we talk a lot about, perfect being the enemy of good sometimes. And like, just
Mhm.
getting in your own way in your own head about like, I didn't do it right or, whatever,
Yeah.
but,
I, I get in my head a lot about not being perfect.
and yet you are.
I, right, right. That was where I was going. That's it. And there you have another perfect ending for this conversation. No, I, I've had my therapy. I don't think I'm done. I think I need more. But I also think the perfectionism now is my drive to make it clear that I am here for you, that I am a resource to those who think I'm a resource. And for clarity's sake, I should say I've said this before. I entered my career wanting to be famous, and I would not say no to it now. But what I've realized over and over again, and what I really realize about the pandemic, about what has happened since March, is that what I care about more than fame is community. And what I don't want to do is spend so much time supporting other people's platforms that I forget about my own, which is a problem that I have had in the past.
It's
Um,
very physician heal thyself sort of thing.
well, it is, yes, yes. If I were a physician, yes, I guess so. I think that, I know that Sarah has told you this story about my partner, and he said to me, the thing that made me stop acting in independent theater, finally, once and for all, stop acting in independent theater. Because I keep going back and I keep, it's easier for me to produce it now anyway, or to write it now anyway. But as an actor, it's too difficult because of who I am and who I have become in the world of acting.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be clear that I'm not talking any shit about indie theater.
No shit
But
was not.
it is a thing that doesn't serve me in the way
Right.
that I serve it as an actor.
You also have a finite amount of time in your day and you have big things to accomplish.
Yes, yes. But everyone does. And there's a point at which it serves you to do it, or
Yep.
you have to move on from it. But uh, I was acting in this piece that made me very angry every time I was acting in it. And Carl, my partner, said to me, every time I see you in something like this and hearing you complain about it for 4 weeks of rehearsal, um, is how did they get Kevin R. Free to do this? What did they have to offer Kevin R. Free to get in his car at rush hour and drive all the way out to Brooklyn to do this particular piece that didn't really have a connection to him and did not build Kevin R. Free's platform in any way.
Yeah.
And it's sort of just when I stopped doing it, because of that comment, I stopped doing it because at the time I thought I stopped doing it because I realized that my partner was a fan of my work, right? So that was like, oh, he actually likes what I do.
Nice.
Took me 20 years to get it, but you know, whatever. But what I think about now is how is acting in that thing or contributing to that program or whatever, how does that help my platform?
Mm-hmm.
How does that help me to create community? Because if that is what my platform is, how does it help? How is it going to do that? And I think so now I want to make sure that everything I do in support of others really supports me, really serves me in a way that will keep me from hating everybody, including myself for having done it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's been an important lesson to learn in the time when I haven't stopped working. Yeah, I think I'm going to say one more thing about, because I'm still putting my finger on the access thing, and you never know who's watching you and respecting your time and talent and expertise. That said, there aren't jobs for every actor all the time. But there are jobs that don't have to go to that famous actor who's in every benefit. There are jobs that can go to that actor you respect, that you've seen at auditions or you've seen in one play. They can get that job. And it doesn't have to go to that one actor that we're seeing every week in every benefit. And when we're asking that one actor to be in every benefit, we're doing it because we've seen them in every benefit, and also we consider them to be famous and to have a platform that can help our platform.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, when that actor is acting in a thing because we revere them, we've put them on that pedestal because we also want to put them in every benefit, we're not actually helping them to hone their craft in the same way that we would that other actor that we've seen maybe a couple of times and we've seen at auditions and we know actually deserves an opportunity as well. That person, we're not afraid to question and have debate with in rehearsal. That person, while we also respect them, they're not famous, so we're not afraid to say to them, hey, this choice that you made in that scene, I think a stronger choice is this. because we're afraid of that other person's celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
We're afraid of being smacked down by that person because they have some kind of celebrity and they can introduce me to their fancy friends.
Yeah.
And so I think, wouldn't it be great if we treated everyone with respect and had an actual collegial experience working with them, and we also revered them enough to look at them as like they're celebrities? Wouldn't it be great if we
Yeah.
could look at those people and think they might know somebody who knows somebody who could help me? Wouldn't it be great if we weren't asking the same people all the time to be the face of the benefit for the other people, because giving to that cause is just a good idea?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think I'm saying anything revolutionary here, but it's a thing that is crossing my mind a lot in our business, because I think I want everyone to feel like they can send the email that I sent at the middle of March. Hi, I need a job. I need work. Can you give me some work? I want people to feel like they can do that, because there's nothing wrong with doing it. But we've been told that it's wrong to be thirsty. It's wrong to be desperate. It's wrong to be, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I can say. I've had people audition for me all the time, and I want them to feel supported and respected and in a room that's safe enough that they can take a risk.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you're crystallizing a lot of the absence of people. I think one of the things you're talking about right now, and it's probably a sideline of the topic you're talking about, but what comes through that is you want to be in a rehearsal room. You want to be in auditions and watching people be awesome, and being able to watch someone come in and be awesome and see something happen and know that you're going to be able to cast that person and let them just be the fucking bomb.
Yeah.
And we all miss that.
I do want that. I think I want that in general. I want that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I want that in general.
I think it's one of the things that makes you Kevin R. Free.
What that I want?
That your focus tends to be to your own benefit, I think, but also to the benefit of so many other people, right? Like your job your work with the Fire This Time Festival, your work when you're directing, the work when you're putting together a play that you've written, and you're writing to actors, or knowing that you're writing something and the person you've got in mind is going to just knock this out of the park. I think that generosity is just laced through all of this. And I think it's one of the things that draws people to you, kind of, without blowing smoke up your ass. I mean, for real, I think that's one of the things that makes the freaks love you for it.
Well, they're obviously freaks if they like to blow smoke up my ass.
I knew I took it in a bad turn as soon as I said it, and I was like, way to go, dum-dum.
No, it's good. It's a good expression. I'm not sure that I've ever heard. I mean, I've heard it, but I'm not sure that anybody's ever said that to me. I think I've heard people say, "I don't mean to blow sunshine up your ass," but
oh yeah, it's the same concept. It just depends if you want it to be warm or you want it to tickle, I think.
I hate you.
I know you do.
And my
And we have
cat,
to stop right there. We're not going to top that.
the cat has not awakened at all. Nothing we've said has been brilliant enough to wake my cat.
So if people wanted to see, get in touch with you, find out more about the stuff you're working on,
Yep.
is it kevinrfree.com?
It is. You probably aren't going to find out much about what I'm working on because I haven't updated the site since the shutdown,
Right.
but I will, I promise.
And you're on social media.
I am on social media. I'm on Twitter at kevinrfree, which is where I spend most of my time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do a lot on Facebook anymore, but there's a page there that you could like.
Yeah.
There is, I'm on Instagram. I'm also at kevinrfree there. I used to post a lot of pictures of the food that I was cooking, and then I stopped. It felt frivolous, so I stopped posting pictures of the food. I mean, I've taken pictures of everything I've made, but I've not been posting those pictures.
Oh, of course not. No, yeah. It's just bragging at this point.
That's right.
Look how this came out. It's beautiful.
I made some hamburger buns this week. This is the third time I've made them, and they were so good.
You made hamburger buns?
Yeah. Yeah. How about that?
That's amazing. I don't know anyone who's ever done that. Now I do. The first person.
Well, this is the third time I've made them, and this is the best time. The first time was great. The second time was not as great. Not as great.
And then what happened the third time?
Wonderful. It was a charm.
It sounds like it was. All right. Thank you, my friend, for doing this. I appreciate it. And I think that I one of the reasons I love talking to you is because I like that we can talk about the rudimentary things of like, oh, we're in rehearsal and oh, I work with this and this is how I work. But then I think that one of the great things about talking to you is because you're thinking about things all the time and you're thinking about sort of how to make it better for everybody. And
yeah.
That's I love that stuff.
Thank you. I will take that in. I will receive that. And I'll take it in. Thank you.
You got it.
Love you.
Love you too. All right.
Let me know when you post it so that I can spread it all around.
Oh, we're going to spread it. Don't you worry.
Oh, good. You are recording. I was like, is he recording this?
I am recording. I'm going to stop now.
Okay, bye.
Bye.